At first, I was really upset that Bagel and Schmear got printed, because we didn't get anything even closely resembling Aunt May's wheat cakes. I mean, it's the Spider-Man said. We got a food artifact and we didn't get Aunt May's wheat cakes. Absolutely unacceptable. But then I learned that it was a whole thing for like real-life Jewish culture in the actual New York, and I guess I categorically don't get to complain about that. Representation is good, actually. Especially when it's for people who aren't me, a cishet English-speaking white man. What I will say about Bagel and Schmear is that it sets a dangerous mechanical precedent. That a food artifact can draw a card without also being a clue subtype, like Candy Trail. Obviously, I'm not serious about this, but this is the discussion for today. Ever since the creation of food tokens, the artifact subtype has been a fascinating and vibrant area of Magic card design. The generation of token rectangles is very, very good, and it's really fun and interesting to see all of the ways that design can make different kinds of artifacts feel differently played. A draft environment with blood tokens is so different to a draft environment with, say, maps or clues. And there's even something to be said for a sort of tier system that's developing amongst artifact tokens, artifacts that can be sacrificed for 0 to 1 mana, or artifacts that can be sacrificed for 2, like clues, landers, food. But easily the best part of artifact tokens is sneaking these subtypes onto actual cards. Not least because it's just fun and fantastic. I will enjoy seeing artifact food printed on cards for the rest of Magic's life, and I hope it never goes away. My only disappointment about food creatures is that unfortunately there is a mechanical necessity that they must also be artifacts. Although the actually meaningfully difficult to work around design constraint that all of these artifact tokens have is that they sacrifice themselves to do the thing. A feature that unfortunately puts a pretty hard cap on how expensive these cards can be and have their typed mechanics still be even slightly meaningful. A card like Candy Trail is so incredible because you're spending 3 mana and 1 rectangle to get 2 different tokens worth of stuff. Technically, you're getting a discount on if you had cracked a clue and a food, and that makes the card kind of powerful, but more importantly, really satisfying to play. But on the flip side, you get cards like Sir Ginger, a 3/1 legendary artifact creature that's meant for attacking planeswalkers, and you also happen to be able to sacrifice it for food life. Not that that has any mechanical benefit that the card would indicate on its own. Standard players will of course be familiar with Carrot Cake, one of the straight up best answers to this design dilemma that exist anywhere. An artifact that does a separate thing on enter and then does a thing on sacrifice, and you don't necessarily have to sacrifice it to the food ability, but of course it is always there. One of the simplest and earliest design rules that you must drill into your brain is that cards should self-enable. That's why Firelord Zuko is so bad. Bagel and Schmear answers this design problem in a different way by providing 2 options for how to sacrifice the card. Essentially providing a pseudo 2-brid mechanic, where eating the food is 2 generic mana and gives you not a terrible effect, but something that is immediately outmoded on release by Candy Trail, or the color-specific sharing the love to draw a card for 1 less mana. A feature substantially better, but also only really playable if you look at it exclusively in the context of white cards alone. This being printed shortly after Cryogen Relic is an absolute shame. Personally, I love these cards. I love seeing all the fun and interesting ways that WotC are exploring ways to express an artifact subtype as an actual card itself. And the answers don't all have to be clues and food. Those are honestly the low-hanging fruit, pun fully intended, like and subscribe, of this challenging to climb but very rich tree. We can have Scene of the Crime, we can have Candlestick and the rest of the Cluedo artifacts, even if they were completely unplayable even in draft. But I want WotC to challenge themselves. I said in a video last week that I wanted more map tokens. Print some surveillance drones that are also mapping targets. Or maybe, if we're feeling especially spicy, we get some more colored artifact lands. We're so close to the point where we could have a cycle of all 5 of these. Because we already have one, I don't want to do Clue again. So I figure we start with blue being an island map. That feels pretty straightforward, right? Treasure Island? You get it. Either green or white could reasonably be the food land, but I have always personally felt that the flavoring of food, pun once again fully intended, is deeply, deeply green, even if mechanically it absolutely could be a white card. A swamp also being a mutagen is just an absolute home run, easy answer right there. And a red land would be a perfect opportunity for us to move Fallout's junk tokens into standard. And of course, while we're here, I would certainly be the last person to complain if we did a Fallout standard set where we got, say, a vertibird lander vehicle.